Hello, my name is Charles Campbell, an international chess player with a national master title courtesy United States Chess Federation and a candidate master title courtesy of the World Chess Federation. I'd like to share with you a topic that's been playing on the minds of a lot of people. It's the basic conditions for a successful attack. When must you attack? How can you attack? What must you have in mind when you attack? This game is a game I played in the 2008 World Chess Olympiad against a very strong player from Albania. His name was Gökçe Klerim. It happened to be my first Olympiad and I was playing black. Let's just play it and see how it goes. Now, he started off with c4, which is, we all know, is the English opening. Now, the English opening is an opening that's basically regarded as a flank opening because it doesn't directly control the center, but it occupies the square c4 and attacks the central square d5. Now, what this means invariably is that if my black pawn moves from d7 to d5, the white pawn on c4 can capture it. So that applies indirect pressure on the d5 square. Now, my style of play is a Slavic style. I like to play with a solid pawn structure, with a solid pawn center that's difficult to break down. And so, I chose c6. Now with c6 is a versatile move because you could transpose into the Slavic game if white decides to play his pawn from d2 to d4, or it could transpose into the Caro-Kann if white decides to play his e-pawn from e2 to e4. So how did we continue? He chose g3. Now g3 is a hypermodern opening because white seeks to control the center with his bishop moving from f1 to g2. That way he could control all of the squares on the long white diagonal. That also applies indirect pressure on the d5 square. So I had to take that in mind when making my next move. I chose d5. Now with d5, I'm directly attacking white's c-pawn, and I'm also creating a solid pawn structure in the center. Like I said before, I like to have a strong pawn center in my games. I think you should do that also. It really helps. That way you wouldn't be blown off the board. He chose b3. Now, at this stage, I could see he was trying to play with a double fianchetto. A double fianchetto means the bishop on g1 goes over, f1 goes over to g2, bishop on c1 goes to b2. That way, both bishops occupy the two longest diagonals on the board, the dark square diagonal running from a1 all the way to g8 to h8, and the light square diagonal running from h1 all the way to a8. But something's wrong. By making these two moves, b3 and g3, he neglects occupying the center with his pawns. A good strategy for black would be to occupy the center with pawns and provoke white into attempting to break down the black pawn center. I played bishop f5. Now, with benefit of hindsight, bishop f5 may not be the strongest move, but my idea was to get the bishop out and then lock it out with the pawn on e6. That way, I wouldn't have to worry about the bishop not being developed if I had to play e6 with the bishop back on c8. So bishop f5 develops an officer, the first officer in the game, and also prepares to move the pawn from e7 to e6 or e5, that way opening the diagonal for the bishop on f8 to get into the game. Now he plays bishop g2, of course, we already talked about this. The bishop is fianchettoed. He's applying direct pressure on my d5 pawn, although it's supported by the c6 pawn and my queen. He also has two pieces attacking the pawn on c4 and the bishop on g2. So that way, it's even. Now I play e6, the move I already said I would play. Now notice my strong pawn center. This is called a pawn phalanx. A pawn phalanx. A pawn phalanx is very difficult to break down because it requires lots of planning by the opponent to break it down. He chose to fianchetto his next bishop by playing bishop b2. Now look at the long diagonal this bishop enjoys, attacking my pawn on g7. That way, I can't move the bishop right away. And also this bishop bearing down on the light square diagonals. Now I develop my knight. The knight goes to f6. Now I'm also applying pressure on the square by which he could attempt to destroy my pawn center, which is e4. Notice I have a pawn on d5 attacking e4. I have a knight on f6 attacking e4. I have a bishop on f5 attacking e4. Now what does white have? He has a bishop on g2 attacking e4. So white has one piece attacking the e4 square, while black has 1, 2, 3 pieces attacking the e4 square. So far so good. White's opening strategy has been very, very lame, but black's strategy has been straight to the point. d6, d3. Now, with d3, I couldn't help but notice the weakness in this diagonal, the diagonal running from e1 to a5. Because of the way white has developed his pieces, it's possible to see that this diagonal weakness has to be exploited. Now, white has made 1, 2, 3, 4 pawn moves. 3 of those pawn moves have been on the light squares. His bishop on g2 is also on the light square. Now with this move, he opens up another diagonal, which is a dark square diagonal. Now let's see how I intend to follow this up. Just like I said, I gave a hint before. I played bishop b4 check. My plan is simple. I would love to exchange off this bishop and leave white with this bishop, because theoretically, as of now, this bishop is way weaker than this one. This is a strong bishop that occupies the longer diagonal. So I'd like to exchange this bishop off for mine if white would accept to. White continues his development by playing knight to d2. Now by playing knight to d2, he's applying pressure on the center, the e4 square. He's blocked the check and is getting ready to develop his pieces. Now I castle. Castling is a natural move in this position. Now he plays his knight at g1 to f3, develops the second knight, and applies more pressure on the e5 square. Now I developed my last minor piece, which is the knight on d7. Note how harmoniously my pieces are. My pieces are working together. Notice the strong pawn center. Also notice that all my moves so far have been tailored towards restricting white from playing his pawn from e2 to e4. Now, white plays h3, another cryptic move. In my opinion, this move is rather unnecessary. He should have just castled and played for the central break from e2 to e4 by moving his rook to e1 after castling. Now, I played h6. You might say, oh, why say his move is unnecessary and yours is not? Well, there's a big difference. The big difference is this. By playing h6, my bishop could retreat all the way to h7, where it keeps an eye on whatever happens on the diagonal, particularly on the e4 square. Whereas his move does little or nothing to improve his position. He finally castles. Now, after castling, we can notice that all of the minor pieces have been developed for white and for black. Now a5. a5 seeks to expand my control of the center, particularly from the queenside angle. Now, look at the queenside. I'm trying to make the queenside static so that white would have very few options on that side, while still maintaining my pressure on the e4 square. Now he played a3. This was a move I was expecting, and it's a move I really liked to play against. Why? Because by playing a3, the pawn on b3 has been weakened. Now this pawn has no pawn supporting it, and the bishop will gladly retreat to d6 or e7, and then another black piece could come all the way to apply pressure on this pawn. That keeps the knight and the queen pinned towards the defense of the pawn. Now bishop e7, a natural move. Rook e1. Now what's he trying to do? He's trying to play e4. So I have to prepare myself for that move if it eventually comes. I wouldn't want e4 to come in and then he'll be attacking my bishop, which would gain a tempo for him. So naturally, bishop h7. Now I expected him to follow up with e4, but he played rook c1. Now with rook c1, he still keeps me guessing, but then his options are limited. He should have just gone ahead to attack the center, but then he didn't. Maybe lucky me. Now I play queen b6. Now, just like I explained before, I'm applying pressure on this pawn, but also I'm applying pressure on the long diagonal. Now he plays queen c2, which enters a pin, an indirect pin on the bishop. Now how do I follow up? With bishop c5, I'm attacking the f2 pawn. Now, playing the pawn from e2 to e3 seriously weakens this pawn. So this is not a very good idea. Now, the only way for him to successfully defend is to move his rook, which he had earlier developed, back to f1. That's obviously a loss of 2 tempi because he moved his rook once to e8 to e1, and now he's moved the rook back to f1. Now, bringing in my last, or rather, bringing in the rook into the game. Now, bringing the rook into the game anticipates the opening of the c file. Also, the queen is on the c file, the white queen is on the c file, so it would be a good idea. It discourages white from capturing with c takes d5, because then his queen will be under fire from my rook. Now he plays queen c3. That's a move I really don't understand, but it looks like he's trying to increase his control of the central squares, particularly d4 and e5. But then, that move is easily met with this move. Now I bring in my last rook, anticipating a push from e6 to e5 to totally control the center. Now he didn't allow that, and so he played d4. Now d4 is a particularly bad move. Why? Because although it attacks my bishop, forces me to move the bishop away, it also blocks the diagonal of this bishop on b2. That way, the bishop has very limited scope and has nowhere to go. the bishop is blocked in by its own pawn. So I would have happily accepted this move and simply moved my bishop away, back to f8. And now he played knight e5. That's another move I'm not too convinced about, because while it appears he's trying to attack and exchange of pieces, those exchanges will only benefit black, because just like I did, I captured the knight, knight takes knight, now he replied pawn takes knight. Now the pawn is firmly placed on the e5 square. That way this bishop still remains bad. It has no scope and is blocked in by its own pieces. My knight goes back to d7. Now note that the knight move back to d7 increases the scope of the knight, because the knight could also come back here to c5 much later in the game like it did, to apply more pressure on this pawn, making sure this knight does not move. Also note that the queen here applies the indirect pressure on this pawn, because this pawn can still not advance to e4, to b4. Now, rook d8. The rook has no more business on the e file, because the file is now closed. Now black anticipates the opening of the d file, and so places a rook behind the pawn to support it. Now rook c1. Rook c1 ignores my next move. Maybe not ignores it, but he probably just didn't see it, he didn't anticipate it. But rook c1 adds strength to my last move, which was rook d8. d4, now this was obviously a blow. He never expected it. He didn't see it coming. Now, what are the options? It looks like I'm giving up a free pawn, right? Queen takes pawn. Now what do? With queen takes pawn, I'll just reply with knight c5. Knight c5, the rook hits the queen. The queen has to move away, probably back to c3, and then my rook would be attacking the knight. I could take the knight, and then my knight takes the pawn on b3. You know, let's just illustrate it so you don't get confused. Now, queen takes c3, knight c5, queen there, he has to protect the knight. Rook takes knight, queen takes knight, knight takes pawn. Now, in this position, white has 1, 2, 3 pawn islands. A pawn island is pawn chains that have been broken up and are no longer connected. On the other hand, black has 1, 2 pawn islands, and so black's pawns are more connected, they're more united. Notice that the bishop is still bad, being blocked by its own pawn on e5. Now, go back to the position with d4. He knew he couldn't take, and so he knew he couldn't take. And so he played queen f3. Now with queen f3, he gives up a pawn in the hope of generating an attack on the king's side. That's wishful thinking, but let's see how it goes. So I capture, knight takes pawn on e5. Now what does he do? He goes to h5, in attacking my knight. So with queen h5, mission accomplished. My knight goes back to d7. My knight goes back to d7, preparing a pawn roller. Pawn could move from e6 to e5. This could move from c6 to c5. And all of my bishop pieces come into the game. My knight could also go from d7 to f6. So my pieces have lots of scope. Now, knight, bishop to e4. Now he seeks to exchange off pieces. Black doesn't want to exchange off pieces. He wants to dominate the game. Now, black wants to make his superior pieces that are placed in better positions count. And so he plays this move that appears to be rather funny, because it blocks in his own bishop, blocks in my bishop. But then it prepares a pawn storm in the center. Notice that this pawn can move to f5, so this pawn can move to e5, and the pawns just start rolling all over in the center. Now with that, he goes back to f3, queen to f3. Now with queen to f3, what does he want to achieve? He's trying to make his queen safe in the first place, but also by queen to f3, he's got little or no choice about this. So after queen to f3, of course, the next move is f5. Now with f5, I'm attacking the bishop on e4. Now, by attacking the bishop on e4, he moves away to bishop, moves away his bishop to c2. And then my pawn will now look at this. This is awesome. Now the pawns are all connected and they're all rolling. All of my pawns, look at this, I haven't even lost a single pawn, and all the pawns are connected. This is awesome. So with e5, he tries to break up my flow, to break up the pawn center by playing e4. Now I open up the d file, and then any knight move would hit the rook, would attack the knight. So with pawn takes pawn, he captures pawn takes pawn. And now my knight comes into the game with tempo, because my knight and rook are attacking this square, plus my rook is attacking the knight, the hanging knight on d2. So the position is becoming increasingly difficult for white, and objectively, I think it's lost. There's really nothing he can do about this anymore. The game is beyond him. So with knight c5, he plays rook d1 to protect his knight. And now I play queen c7. Now the plan is simple. To play this pawn, to play the pawn from e5 to e4, where my queen would also be attacking this pawn and gaining more space. That's also supported by this pawn push much later in the game. So with queen to c7, he plays e4. And now, I need to totally dominate the dark squares. So I played f4. He captures g takes f4, he takes f4, and now he played e5. With e5, the queen no longer protects the pawn. But then, look at this, g5. Now my pawns are connected on the king's side, 3 on the queen side, 3 on the king's side, and my bishop, which has been hibernating all along, comes into the game with full force. He can't allow that bishop to survive, and so he has to take it. So he plays bishop takes, check. Now I have two options, king takes or queen takes. Obviously queen takes, because queen takes increases the pressure on this square where I have my queen, my knight, and my rook attacking the d3 square, and white has just his queen. So white is completely lost at this stage. So with queen takes h7, he now plays b4. Now the intermezzo. An intermezzo is a move you play just before you play a more obvious move. That move must force your opponent to respond in a particular way. And so with this move, I'm forcing white to move his queen. My rook is getting into the game, and we're getting to the final stage of the attack. So with rook d3, he goes to h5. Now I play rook g3 check. Now rook d3 check. king goes to h2. Now, knight d3. I'm still using the d3 square. I used it for my rook. Now I'm using the square for my knight. Now this move attacks the bishop, puts more pressure on the b4 pawn, which is effectively dead, because I have 1, 2, 3 pieces attacking this pawn on b4. So with knight d3, he tries knight d1, which is a very bad move, because I get to win a piece. See if you can spot the move that wins the piece. Yeah, you got it. Knight takes b2. Knight takes b2, the rook is under attack. Even if he takes my rook, which he did, I'll take back with a check. So with the check, king takes, now I still get to take the rook on d1. So in this position, the game is completely lost. But he still plays on. So knight takes, and he plays rook takes. He plays rook takes d1. Now rook takes d1, now I can take the pawn. A takes b4, A takes b4. Now this is the final stage of the attack. I have to get my pieces in, heavy pieces in, to dominate the game. So queen f5. Queen f5 eyes the square on f4 and also prepares to get the rook into the game. He plays this, defending his pawn. But then that allows this, which attacks the rook. So bishop b4 attacking the rook. He's got to move up if he wants to defend the pawn. Now I bring my rook over here to control the open file. Now this open file is totally under my control. So all I need to do is get my rook into the game by rook d3 check. So with rook d8, he tries e6. He's trying to queen his pawn. Is he going to succeed? I don't think so. Because with e6, he allows the bishop to come into the game with a decisive effect. Bishop d6, check. Now with king g2, rook f8. Now the threats are so many. Queen to f1 is checkmate. There's really nothing he can do. So even if he plays e7, it doesn't change anything because I'm still going to go to f1. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this game. Stay tuned because I'll be coming up with a lot more videos, a lot more instructional materials very soon. Bye-bye.